All right, so Nasdaq just dropped a massive billion-dollar quarter, and honestly, it signals a huge change in what the company is all about. We're going to break down what these numbers really mean for a brand you've definitely heard of.
So the official announcement comes out, and the headlines are just huge, right? We're talking over $1 billion in what they call solutions revenue for the quarter. And then they hit $3 billion in something called annualized recurring revenue, or ARR. But behind all these big numbers, there's a really interesting story about what Nasdaq is turning into. And you don't just have to take my word for it. The CEO, Adina Friedman, she basically spells it out. She says this isn't just a good quarter. It's proof they're transforming into a leading technology platform. And that phrase right there, that's everything. Because it's a pivot, right? It's moving the whole story away from the up and down world of stock trading and into the much more stable, high-growth world of tech. Okay, so first things first, let's just run through those big headline numbers. These are the milestones that really made everyone sit up and take notice.
First up, get this. Total net revenue hit $1.3 billion. Now, that's a 15% jump from last year. And you got to understand, for a company this size, hitting double-digit growth like that is a huge deal. It shows they've got some serious momentum going.
And then there's this one, which is a really big deal. For the first time ever, the revenue from their solutions business, and we'll get to what that means in a second, it crossed $1 billion in a single quarter. I mean, that's a truly historic moment for the company, a real turning point.
And to top it all off, we have this number, $3 billion in annualized recurring revenue. That's ARR. Now, if you follow tech companies, you know ARR is a magic word for investors. Hitting an all-time high here tells you their business is strong, it's stable, and it's predictable. It's not just riding the waves of the market every day.
Okay, so those are the headline numbers, and they're impressive, no doubt. But what's actually driving all this success? Well, this gets us to the real story here. Nasdaq is strategically shifting from being just a stock exchange to, well, something much, much bigger.
And wow, this chart just says it all. Take a look at this revenue breakdown. A massive 76% of their money now comes from solutions. That means only 24% comes from what you and I probably think of when we hear Nasdaq, the actual trading and listing of stocks. This isn't just a little tweak, it's a total reinvention of who they are.
So I keep saying solutions revenue, but what actually is it? Well, it's basically all the tech stuff. We're talking software, data, analytics, everything from platforms that help banks catch financial crime to the tech that helps brokers follow regulations. This is the new engine driving the whole company.
And that brings us right back to that ARR number. When we talk about annualized recurring revenue, the easiest way to think about it is like this. It's basically the financial world's version of a Netflix or Spotify subscription. It's predictable money coming in every year from thousands of clients who are locked into contracts for Nasdaq's technology. And that, right there, is the bedrock of their growth.
All right, so let's pop the hood on this growth engine and see where all this power is coming from. We're going to zoom in on the specific parts of the business that are just firing on all cylinders right now.
And just check this out. It's not like one part of the business is carrying all the weight. Their financial technology division, that's the pure software stuff, it grew by 13%. The index business, the one behind the Nasdaq 100, also up 13%. And get this, even their traditional trading services grew by 13%. That is what you call healthy, balanced growth across the whole board.
And these percentages aren't just numbers on a page. They represent real wins. For example, their financial crime tech, Verifin, brought on 55 new banks as clients. Their index products, they attracted a staggering $91 billion in new investments over the past year. They're signing new deals for their capital markets technology left and right, and their derivatives business is smashing records. This just proves the strategy is working where it counts, in the real world.
So you might be asking, how is all this happening? It's not by accident, that's for sure. It all boils down to a really clear three-part strategy, and you can see his fingerprints on every single one of these results.
The whole plan is called integrate, innovate, accelerate. Let's break that down. First, integrate. This is just about being smart and efficient, cutting costs, shoring up the finances. Then you've got innovate. That's the cool part, right? Building the next generation of financial tools. And finally, accelerate. This is all about smart selling, getting the clients they already have to buy even more of their stuff. Now, I know innovate can sound like a corporate buzzword, but listen to what they're actually doing. They're filing to trade what are called tokenized securities. Think of it as bringing real-world assets onto the blockchain. And they've launched something they're calling an agentic AI workforce. It's basically an AI partner for analysts to help them fight financial crime. I mean, this is some seriously futuristic, cutting-edge stuff.
And that accelerate piece, it's delivering the goods, with real numbers to back it up. The whole idea is to cross-sell, sell more stuff to the customers you already have. They've already notched 30 big cross-sell wins, and that now makes up more than 15% of their entire sales pipeline. They're on a path for this strategy to bring in over $100 million in revenue all by itself. That's huge.
Okay, we've gone through a lot of numbers, a lot of strategy. So let's zoom back out and ask the big question, the so what question. Why does any of this actually matter?
Well, the CFO, Sarah Youngwood, really puts a bow on it. She talks about excellent performance, robust earnings growth, and get this, generating more than $2 billion in operating cash flow. So this strategy, it's not just a cool story for a presentation. It's building a really powerful, financially rock-solid company.
So really, here's the bottom line. If you take away just one thing, let it be this. These results confirm a massive shift in identity for Nasdaq. They're not just a stock exchange anymore. They are a global tech company, providing the essential software and data that powers the entire financial world, from the biggest banks all the way down to the smallest brokers.
And that leaves us with a pretty fascinating question, doesn't it? They just smashed that $1 billion milestone for their tech business. But as finance becomes more and more of a technology race, you have to wonder, what's the next $1 billion milestone going to be? And who's going to hit it first?